All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you are trying to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, to harden your erections, or to stop the bladder and urinary symptoms that you're facing, such as incomplete bladder emptying or urine leakage, regardless of what it is, you need to be doing Kegel exercises. Really quick, Kegel exercises and pelvic floor strengthening mean the exact same thing. And if you want to strengthen your pelvic floor, there are 3 different types of Kegel exercises you need to master. Let's get into the first exercise, which is the lying down contraction. And as we go through this video, I want you trying these along with me. So whether you're at home, you're in the office, in a hotel room, I don't care, do them with me or save the video to watch later so I can coach you through it. Let's go. All right guys, so the first Kegel exercise that we're gonna go through that you need to start practicing is called the lying down contraction. Now, this is critical to start in this position because it's probably the easiest for you to feel the actual contraction. Why? Well, when you're lying down, you are working across the plane of gravity instead of against it, meaning it's gonna be a little bit easier for you to feel that contraction properly. Now, in order to feel it, I need to remind you, you need to be placing 2 fingers, index finger, middle finger, over top the perineum. I can't show you a photo of this position, so pay attention to what I'm about to do right now. So in between your scrotum and your anus, that piece of skin is called your perineum, right here where I'm pressing my 2 fingers. Press those in, and you're gonna hold them there, and that is how you're gonna feel this contraction. So fingers in place, I want you lying flat on your back, okay? So knees bent up like this, feet spread around shoulder width. You're gonna take your 2 fingers and you're gonna place them over top your perineum. And I am pressing reasonably firmly into the skin. Now, the cue or the verbal saying you want to say to yourself and then do to contract your pelvic floor is to stop the flow of urine. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna breathe in, I'm gonna breathe out all the way, let all the air out of the lungs, and at the end of the breath, I'm going to stop the flow of urine, and then I'm going to release. No holding the contraction. So when you try to stop that flow of urine lying on your back, you should feel a bulging out into your fingertips. It might feel like a bulging out, it might feel like a sucking in, or it just might feel like an overall tightening of the skin. I don't care what one it is, if you felt movement underneath those fingertips, that is a Kegel's contraction. So position number 1 is lying on your back with your knees bent. You can do it lying on the floor, you can do it lying on the couch, or you can even do it lying in bed. You just gotta do them. Now we are going to increase in difficulty here as we go. Position number 2 is doing a Kegel's position, or doing a Kegel's contraction rather, sitting down in a chair. Okay, position number 2 is doing your Kegel's contractions sitting in a chair. Now, we are gradually increasing the difficulty here because we are now working against that plane of gravity, but what we have working for us is a nice firm surface, kind of providing that base and that foundation for our pelvic floor. Because again, our pelvic floor is deep within our pelvis, so sitting on a chair is going to give it a little bit of respite as we try to strengthen it. Now, as you notice, I'm not sitting on my comfortable chairs because they're too soft, and I'm going to sink into it, and my pelvic floor is actually going to be struggling to maintain my balance rather than allow me to focus on the contraction. So grab a kitchen chair, something firm, and what you're going to do is you are going to move all the way to the very edge of the chair. So my sit bones are the only thing that's in contact. My scrotum is hanging off of the chair. So again, sitting up nice and tall, take your 2 fingers and you're gonna lift up your scrotum and you're gonna put your 2 fingers over top of the perineum and you're gonna hold it there. Do not skip this part because you won't know if you're doing it properly. Now, with your feet planted firmly on the ground, the other hand that you're not using, I want it resting on your knee, and you're gonna lean forward slightly and just relax the tummy muscles. Now, take a big breath in, breathe all the way out, and stop that flow of urine. Stop it, and then relax it. So again, you should feel a flicker, a tightening, a bulging out underneath those 2 fingers, and then you should also feel a defined release. That is you contracting your pelvic floor and releasing. Now, another saying that I find works really well with guys is lifting your nuts to your guts, like on an elevator, nuts to guts. So you can either say, stop the flow of urine, or you can say, lift your nuts to your guts. And remember, you are actively trying to act that out as you say it. That's what's going to get you to contract your pelvic floor. Because really quickly, the reason why this can become really complicated and difficult for some guys, because if we were talking about, muscles like your biceps, you just look at them and you can contract them and flex them. And it's really easy to visualize and to see that movement. You can't see your pelvic floor contracting. And for a lot of guys, we didn't even realize we had one to strengthen up in the first place. So make sure you're saying those verbal cues out loud to yourself for every repetition. Stop the flow of urine, or lift your nuts to your guts. And quickly, before we move on to our third exercise that is going to take your training up that extra ante, I wanna make sure you're honoring our gentleman's agreement. Guys, the gentleman's agreement is if you've watched more than one of my videos, you gotta click that subscribe button directly below, and you can do it right now while watching. Clicking the subscribe button is free to do. It is our virtual handshake, and it means that I now work for you, and I'm gonna continue working my hardest to put out good content in videos that are going to help you. And it also helps my community grow and reach more men around the world. So go on, honor the gentleman's agreement by clicking that subscribe button below, and let's get into the third and final exercise. Okay, the final of the 3 exercises that I want you to master when you're doing your Kegels is the standing up contraction. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a lot different from lying down, such as the first exercise that I took you through. And that's for good reason. It is by far the most difficult contraction to master because there's no more support of a nice hard chair. You are no longer working across gravity. You are working against gravity. Your pelvic floor muscles, which again act as that hammock in your pelvis, are now supporting the entire weight of all your internal organs, including your bladder. So it is well under tension, making it just a little bit more difficult to feel it. But nonetheless, grab your 2 fingers, place them right over top of your perineum, directly between your scrotum and your anus. Other hand on the hip, doing a bit of a power pose here. Bend your knees, and I want you to breathe in, breathe out. And then you're gonna stop that flow of urine. Flick it on, and then you're gonna turn it right back off. Now, it's okay if you don't feel as strong of a bulging, a tensioning, or a sucking in underneath your fingertips. Remember, it's the hardest contraction to do, and you're going to need to practice it lots. And on that point, I have created my very own pelvic floor strengthening guide, taking you through all 3 positions and all 3 contraction types, day in, day out, step by step, all your repetitions, all of your sets, so that it takes all the guesswork out of it for you. So if you want to strengthen your pelvic floor in the fastest way possible to resolve your urinary and bladder issues and to also strengthen your erections, I want you to go on and check out my pelvic floor strengthening program. Now, to say a big thank you for supporting our community in all of our videos, if you use the word Kegel, K-E-G-E-L, at checkout, you're gonna save yourself 15%. So if you wanna support me, and if you wanna strengthen your pelvic floor as quickly as possible, click that link in the description and in the pinned comment below so that you can check out and download my pelvic floor strengthening guide. Now remember, regardless of your situation, keep going, and I'll see you in the next video.